Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. It's episode 34. We usually do a football podcast during the week. Sadly, we're not doing that this week, even though they have won three straight games. And of course, they are playing against Vandy. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that tonight in this podcast. But we're going to be mainly talking about the recap of Kentucky versus Michigan State. Another blowout loss. Of course, UK, they lost by 8 points against Louisville, but they were down by 20 points against them. And then, of course, they got down. I think they lost against Michigan State nearly by 20 points. It was 17 points. But how are you doing, Cameron?
Oh man, I'd say decent as a UK fan, good overall. But man, it's a tough time, especially for. I mean, the trip was great outside of it, but I went to see that game in person, and it was not good. So,
Yeah.
but overall, doing well. Happy to jump back on.
Yeah, how was the New York trip other than the game? Like, what all did he do while there?
It was amazing. It was honestly an amazing trip. We did well. I'd gone. Sadly, when we played Duke in 2021, it was Coach K's last year. So I went to that game. So I did a ton in New York that time, but then this time we focused on the things that we didn't get to do. So we went to a bunch of different like restaurants and shops and stuff. But
Yeah.
then we did the 9/11 museum, that like tour of it, and then
Mhm.
other than that, we kind of just visited different little spots and stuff, and it was a good time. We spent a lot of time at MSG. We went to Jack Dempsey's before the game at the UK bar, so it was cool to see all the UK fans. But everything
Yeah.
outside of the game, awesome.
Yeah, other than the game for sure. Meanwhile, I was just getting done with work. I got some pizza for my girlfriend and I. We were watching the game on the couch, and basically, after the first 10 minutes of the game, it wasn't close. Basically, UK trailed the whole game after that, got down by 20 points, lost by 17 points, as I was saying earlier. And it's just crazy to think about because UK had high expectations going into the season. Of course, the rumor amount that UK spent on this year's roster is $22 million. And of course, now opposing fan bases are attacking us saying, wow, UK spent $22 million. They spent that on role players because there is no star player on this year's team. And of course, I do believe, once Jaden Quaintance does return, he'll be the star on this year's team. Like, I feel like he'll take over that role, even though everybody thought it was going to be either Otego away, and then of course Jalen Lowe, who is also injured. Like everybody thought it would either be Owe or Lowe being the leader for this year's team, but that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and with the number total, it's obviously I think it's an overall speculation. And then Rick Pitino this week came out and said that like he doesn't think it was up to the 22 million, but it was definitely if you go based off of all the guys we have, it was definitely the most in the sport. So if it's not 22 million, it is a lot
Yeah,
to already have two losses through 5 games. So that's definitely been the thing that we knew. Even after the Georgetown exhibition loss, we were like, okay, this is going to be the thing all year. Every opposing fan base, like you mentioned, they use that. That's their fuel. So
yeah,
it sucks to see it. And obviously, you didn't. I mean, I kind of made fun of North Carolina because they spent I mean, like top five most, and they didn't really get anybody, but they have that star in Caleb Wilson that you're saying that JQ might end up being that for us. Hopefully, he is. But as of right now, sitting at 3-2 with that much money spent is not a great look for us.
yeah.
It's not fun so far.
Yeah, and then basically after that game, though, Mark Pope just seemed like he was so defeated. And of course, now you fast forward to today, where he had the pregame conference before UK faces off against Loyola Maryland, and he was in a happy go like he was in a happy great mood basically. And I'm like, well, sometimes it just takes a night to sleep on it, and then you're in a better mood the next day. And it was tough to see Mark Pope in that post-game press conference. And of course, I wasn't there, but all the other media members that were there, they were like, I've never waited 50 minutes for a head coach to come out for a press conference. And it makes me wonder what Pope was saying to the players in the locker room after that, because, like, you never see a head coach wait 50 minutes to do a post-game interview at max. You see them maybe 30 minutes at max, I would say, but more like 15, 20 minutes. You wait until the head coach comes out. But it does make me wonder what he said to the players in the locker room, and then, of course, why he also had a hoarse voice, too.
Yeah. The Jeff Goodman interview is the one that like continues to like it's rent free right now. Like, it is
Yeah.
just engraved in my brain. the first time I saw it was in the hotel room with the fellas after, and
Hmm.
I just remember playing it. And I was like, I wanted to like shed a tear. I was like, what is going on? Like, how is
Yeah.
he so down? And then Jeff Goodman made the point of like he's known him for so many years. He's never seen somebody that down, and
Mhm.
I don't think anybody's ever seen someone that down from a November 18th loss. Like it's crazy,
Yeah.
but that's the thing that like I mean, he obviously loves this job and puts it to a completely another level because like the losses are this bad. And I know he would go through some hurting and stuff at BYU also, but this is a different level of it.
Yeah.
So I am curious kind of what he said. But
Mhm.
now the Pope we know is back, and like you mentioned, like, looking forward towards Loyola Maryland. Like
Mhm.
it's back. And the bright side is, like I mentioned, it's November 18th when you lose that game. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of season left,
Yeah.
so
There's a whole
it
lot.
can be fixed. And I would imagine the
Mhm.
start of the fix would have been in that post game locker room. Like you
Yeah.
said, waiting 50 minutes is crazy. So I'm sure there was a lot said, a lot off of his chest, and he'll never put out anything remotely close to what he actually said in there publicly. But
Yeah.
I can only imagine what was said in there.
Yeah, I can't believe that. And then, of course, on Wednesday, there were all sorts of rumors that were going around on the internet. I won't say the rumors, of course, because, they're rumors and I don't want to spread that. But if you want to look them up, just look them up online. I'm sure you'll be able to find them. But just all the rumors spreading, I'm like, that's crazy to think about. Like, I really don't think any of the rumors were true. If there was any rumor that was true, I would say one of them, but I won't get into it, but like I said, just it's uncalled for to have all these rumors coming out about this year's team because like there's no point. Like let Mark Pope, let the players figure out how to fix this because that's the main thing.
Yeah, the rumors was crazy. Like the whole day, the rumors just went wild. So it was definitely the worst of the fan base, where you have a lot of times that you do get to see the power of BBN and see how awesome this fan base is, the passion behind it. But the dark side of it is very, very ugly. And that was a full day of it where I think it was Matt Jones that put out he had heard and got like received nine
Oh,
different rumors. And,
yeah,
and a lot of them were headbutting like another rumor that they couldn't both be true. So um, it's definitely like you said, we should not mention any because it's just adding fuel to the fire that is probably a fake fire. But
yeah,
um, there's got to be something, and I think that's what a lot of people when he talked about the Louisville game and something happening, and you don't like fill that in. That's when you
yeah,
see all of it get filled with like nonsense. And so
yeah.
I think it's a lot of people he never necessarily has pointed anything directly. So
Mhm.
everybody's just coming up with these
Rumors.
crazy rumors, and they're not even. Some of them are just completely made up on one person, but some of them
Yeah,
are word of mouth, and then they get shifted and changed, and
mhm,
and it's just really sad to see. And like you said, it's uncalled for. So it's
yeah,
it's it's the ugly part of the fan base that we need to put it into.
mhm,
And then I mean I don't know if you have this on your list to talk about, but Coach Hart also
yeah.
kind of tried to put it
With
into it where
yeah,
he tweeted about it. So
with me,
I hate
man,
that you had
boy.
to. What's that?
With me, man, boy.
Yeah, me man boy. I mean, he's becoming a famous Twitter in our fan base. It feels like, but
Yeah,
it's sad that it's gotten to this point of the rumors flowing and like this type of stuff getting put online and different things. Like honestly, I wish players could not see any social media
yeah,
because they're definitely seeing a little bit of it,
yeah.
and it's not going to do anything beneficial.
Hmm.
There's nothing good that's going to come from it. So the rumors and just everything flying around, and then the people that I mean, they just take and run with it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know how many people I had a text from, and this was on the
Even
flight
me.
last night. It was from, we had a layover in Chicago. It is a 50-minute flight. And from there to Louisville, where we landed, I promise you, there were probably 20 texts from 20 different people. It was crazy. They were just, hey, is this true? Is this true? And I'm like, dude, if you don't like have it confirmed, like don't believe it. And obviously some things can't be confirmed, but like
Yeah.
just don't take that, run with it, and you spread it because it's just going
Yeah.
to hurt overall.
Yeah, of course, I didn't like spread any of the rumors. I just came to you, and then I talked to my old co-host that I used to have on my previous podcast, Nolan, as well. Like I was only talking to you and Nolan about that, just saying all these rumors are just crazy about it. And like I said, I also sent you a screenshot from Jack Pilgrim's article that he wrote yesterday morning, so I found that a little fishy or odd with what he said. I won't, of course, say what he said, read into his article, but that was a little odd as well.
Yeah, that one is definitely it feels most believable, and it's also because it's from a very credible source. So
Yeah.
the rest of them you get them from either an account with single digit followers or something, and they just kind of start those. And but the one with Jack that he referenced, I mean, if you all aren't familiar, you can go look it up and read it. But that one at least feels a
Yeah.
little logical.
Yeah, and that's the one that I do believe that could be potentially true that I was alluding to earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, that one could definitely be true, but obviously, and everybody can see that even like before that article and all the rumors, like it's all just because there's something. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember I didn't say anything, I didn't talk to the guy, but like at halftime of the Michigan State game, which at that point we were down like 17 already. It was like 44 to like 20 or yeah 27 or something. But this dude like came up to me and my friend Landon. Which shout out to Landon. He got to do the halftime tic-tac-toe game. So he got to
Really?
make some layups. Yeah, he got to make some layups in Madison Square Garden.
That's
It was
cool.
amazing. But this dude came up to us and he was like, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with this team. And I was like,
Mhm.
I mean, this guy's jumping to conclusions a little bit. We're just playing pretty bad in this first half. But then you see it. Like you can actually see it like from the players barking at timeouts and
Yeah.
then
Oh,
the just
submission.
the yeah, there's just all this like different stuff that's like in game, off the court. Like it's just like there's all this baggage, and it's like nothing feels right
Yeah.
about it. Honestly, there's like really two players that I feel like as a fan base we can point to would be pleased
Yeah.
with how they're playing, and everybody else is just off.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And like I said, I cannot believe whenever Chris Budden said that, the sideline announcer, they're like, she was saying that players were barking at each other. Of course, barking means they were just arguing, fighting, and Mark Pope had to break it up. I'm like, what is going on with this year's team? Like, we never had any issues or problems from last year's team that we know of, like if there were issues or anything, it wasn't made public last year. But this year, it just feels like there's all sorts of issues with players butting heads with each other, whatever it might be. And one player hasn't been stepping up for UK, and I would not be surprised if there could be a change in the lineup soon with that. With Brandon Garrison hasn't been stepping up. Like I thought he would take the next step potentially, since he was going to be the starting center, of course. Like Jaden Quaytons will be the starting center once he comes back. But Garrison was going to be the starter no matter what going into the year because of Quaytons being injured, and he's been playing really bad during the 5 games, and it even showed against Michigan State where he didn't have really any energy. Like he allowed his men to get 2 offensive rebounds and finally score on them. I'm like, what are you doing? Like improve your game, of course. I want him to get better, but I would not be surprised if Malachi Moreno actually takes his spot for the starting center until Quakens returns as well.
Yeah, you can see and we've talked about it before with the minutes between Malachi Moreno and Brandon Garrison. They're slowly sliding Malachi Moreno's way, and they should be. With this one, I think it was 20 and 20. I don't remember. Yeah, it was about 20 minutes and 3 seconds for Brandon Garrison and 19 minutes 57 seconds for Malachi Moreno. And there's been games where it's been 24-16, 23-17, and it's shifted and it's going more towards Malachi Moreno, and it's because he's been
Hmm.
obviously much better. But the interesting thing is like people talked to Pope about it, and they were like, what's your concerns or whatever? And he was like, Brandon Garrison's the second most efficient offensive player we've had. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, at some point, I know analytics might like numbers can lie in a way. Like
Yeah.
things can be done efficiently and still be a really bad outing, and that's what it's been. Like you mentioned the two play like the two rebound play is just like crazy.
Yeah.
How fast that's traveled and that play was mind blowing. Like it's just like you should grab the first one. You
Hmm.
don't grab the first one, then you get the second one, and it's like it's
Yeah.
crazy. There's nothing bright about it. Like even
Hmm.
down to the intentionality of what he goes when he goes to set a screen.
Hmm.
Those aren't good. Like
Yeah.
it's just like there's
And
no
he's the
physicality
bruiser.
to it. Yes, yeah, he's supposed to be this guy that's super physical. And if he doesn't have much of an offensive game, get the board, get out, and do what we need you to do. And it's just like there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
There's turnovers. There's giving up offensive rebounds. There's like every negative thing you can point out, it's
Yeah.
happening for him, and
Yeah. And then
it's been really bad.
And then another Garrison play, not to like throw him under the bus, but like I said, he hasn't been playing the best. But against Eastern Illinois, that he didn't even know that it was UK's ball after Eastern Illinois missed the free throw. He grabbed the rebound thinking like they were going to shoot another free throw, and then he ended up passing the ball to I think it
I think
was
it's Diabate.
Diabate, yeah, and it
Yeah.
led to a turnover and Eastern Illinois scoring. I'm like, you've got to just be focused on the game. I'm like, what are you doing? And then talking about numbers, I thought the saying is women lie, men lie, but numbers don't now.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the saying, but I guess like I mean sometimes I don't see how you can watch what you're seeing and be like, yep, yeah, he's still the starter and he should be playing the most. Like it's
Yeah,
just it's crazy. But yeah, I forgot about the one with Eastern Illinois. And I think everybody else, if it wasn't everybody else, I know there was like Colin was like, I mean, give me the ball, like it's our ball, and then
yeah,
he just throws the turnover and gives up
mhm,
a quick bucket. Like it's
yeah,
just not even in the games that are supposed to be cakewalks and easy. Those games he's still doing very very poorly in. So. Um, it's just bad all around.
yeah,
And I know we going into this, we talked heavy about their front court and like it's good. It should not be this bad. Like a
yeah.
minus 16 for Brandon Garrison. Like that, I don't care if you're playing like Shaq. That's I mean, that it's this is terrible.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And also, going back to the Louisville game as well, Mark Pope again, it got brought up to him about, what happened before the Louisville game, and he basically just said it was nothing. He basically said that the players started to turn up too early, like 40 minutes before they were supposed to, and everything. I'm thinking to myself, everybody's like, there's something much deeper. Like KSR has been talking about, of course a lot of people are going after KSR saying like Mark Pope, like literally he was trying to say it was a nothing burger and basically he's been trying to say that since he said that comment, but a lot of people are going after KSR due to them trying to, get more details about what happened before that Louisville game.
Yeah, it feels like it's something like the question that the fan base is dying to know, but we may never actually fully know about it. And I've talked to some people that I do know, like that are around the program and like were actually there, like during pregame and stuff, and like they've said that nothing happened. So it's definitely
Yeah,
something that happened even more behind the scenes. Maybe it's a locker room or something
yeah,
like that. Because even the people that are around there haven't seen anything. And now I'd say like if you just look around the people that are at practices and um like Goose has talked about it where
mhm,
it's just like it's there's kind of been this like negative thing and it's just like it's just been lingering where the chemistry's just
yeah,
never been there, but it's shocking. It's obviously shocking to us because Pope said it's shocking to him. Like he said, I thought I had a better pulse on this team, and that's why in the offseason, like what was it, the blue white game, I think he was like we combined for 27 made threes and
yeah,
27 divided by 3 is 9, and like
nine,
he's
yeah,
saying all that because he's very confident in what his roster is, and
hmm
now here we are in confidence is far from what we're seeing from Coach Pope.
yeah, and Pope also said after the Michigan State game that we are disappointed and discouraged and completely discombobulated right now. So we just have to have work to do, and so there is no time like the present. And basically, he said that whenever he was very sad, but he also added that basically, this team has to come together. Like they don't have to rely on one person. He basically said if a player gets injured or a player leaves, like it shouldn't matter. Like it should be the whole team that makes the impact for the team, not an individual person.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like last year, big time, where it was like this team has a collective mindset
Hmm
of how they're going to go after it and get it. And this year it feels like there's a lot of like individuals kind of
hmm
playing. So,
Yeah.
um, but that's the thing. Like I would say, and I know I'm naturally just like that definition of a sunshine pumper, but I would say there's not a coach in the country I would rather have that needs to work on rallying a group together. Like if
Yeah.
you're trying to work on individuals growing into a team, I think Pope is number one on
hmm
the list of guys to do that. So that's why I think there is still optimism where
hmm
I've seen people talk about is this like a missed tournament type thing. Like I think there's still a lot of optimism because you do have the talent and then you have the guy that can rally people. Um, and so I think there's going to be optimism, but like it's down the road. Like I don't see it turning very very quick. But that's the tough part is because like we don't have an easy non-conference schedule,
Yeah.
and you build that because of what you think this team will be, and we're far from it. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping it can get fixed pretty soon. We have a couple home games against these non-con teams, so that
hmm
it's going to need to be fixed soon. for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. And of course, the non-conference is tough. You've still got Indiana, St. John's, UNC, and Gonzaga as like your four main like non-conference opponents.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And you get North Carolina December 2nd, so it's coming up.
But yeah.
Yeah, you get that one, and then you follow that Friday with Gonzaga. Like it's not there's
Mhm.
no chilling out. Like you have
Yeah.
two games in between North Carolina. Like it's still
Mhm.
on go. Like you still
Yeah.
gotta get ready to roll against these teams.
Yeah, and then another thing I just want to point out from Mark Pope's press conference, of course, he said, my message is not resonating with the guys right now, and want to know why, his message is not resonating with the team, and it makes me, feel bad for him because I feel like he's a great head coach and everything, but I don't know why the players aren't understanding. Of course, he also added that we will not fail this season and that this team will improve. Like we're failing right now, but we're not going to fail anymore, basically, he also added.
Yeah, the "we will not fail this season" quote is bold, but I love it because it's
Mhm.
like this is not the end. Like this is not what you're gonna see from this Kentucky team, and this is not gonna carry on. So I'm excited to see like what the future looks like, and but like you said, it's just weird to me that it doesn't register because like Pope feels like a very personable like coach that
Mhm.
he can grow and have great like bonding and relationships with these coaches and players, and it's just not hitting right now, and I don't really know why because last year was like amazing with that. It felt
Mhm.
like that was the most gelled team of all time, and they
Yeah.
lacked the star power. This team has a little bit more star power, but there's like no gel to it, and
Yeah.
there's just no togetherness. So, it's gonna have to be like it's gonna be the toughest coaching job that Pope has probably ever had because he's never had this level of personalities
Mhm.
with this level of guys talent wise. And it's going to take, I mean, you mentioned roster construction or roster like playing time and stuff earlier. Like it's going to
Mhm.
take hard
Yeah.
truths, like whether it's Brandon Garrison getting his minutes cut to single digits. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to take something like that where
Yeah.
it's going to hurt some people, but it's going to be for the betterment of the state and the team and all of that going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think for UK, I think they need to cut the bench down to probably 8 players until, other players prove that they can play. Of course, I had a hot take tweet that a lot of people agreed with, and at the time I was just frustrated about UK's loss to Michigan State. And I really don't believe, like it should be this new lineup completely. I said, of course, Denzel Aberdeen should be starting along with Colin Chandler, Cam Williams, Andre Yelovich, and Malachi Moreno. Like, I really don't think that should be the starting five. Like, I do believe that, some players should be earning their minutes, like Moreno replacing Brandon Garrison, of course, but I would like to see probably, like I would say you have to get rid of the two big man lineup. You can't play Diabate and Marino together or Diabate with Garrison. Like I feel like that has to change, and I feel like you should put Cam Williams there probably at the four, and then put Otego away at the three. So if you told me my starting five currently, I would probably say Aberdeen, Chandler, Owe, Williams, and then Marino, or something like that. Or get rid of Marino and have Diabate at the five.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say I would be in that same lineup group as that first one. Um, and then yeah, I think it probably needs cut to 8 at the most, like
Yeah.
right now. And I think the 8 you mentioned are perfect. It's just right now. I saw somebody tweet it and it was like it's the hard truth, but it kind of needed to put out there. It was like, what is he doing other than being from Harlan? Referring to Trent Noah, like
Yeah.
he's not the dude in the offseason that we heard about. If he's
Yeah.
not hitting shots, defensively, he's not doing a whole lot. Now, Cam Williams, even if he's not hitting shots, he'll still prove himself defensively a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, same with Jasper Johnson. I mean, I saw, I watched a little bit of the Field of 68. I don't remember if it was Doster or who said it. It might have been Michael Tuip in his rant, but somebody said like I cannot watch Jasper Johnson dribble the air out of the ball and take a contested three at the end of a
Yeah.
shot clock ever again. Like it is miserable. It just can't happen. And it's so the lineup's got to be cut down big time. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, like JQ, once he gets back, things will change a little bit, and you can probably figure out
Yeah.
what to do. But
Hmm.
the lineup's got to be cut. Like you can't just be throwing tons of guys out there, and
Yeah, I
it's
agree
crazy.
with that. I want to talk a little bit more about the Michigan State game, but it's crazy. Michigan State, who was known to not be able to shoot threes before the Kentucky game, they shoot 50% from the three-point line, 11 for 22, and I'm thinking to myself, how does that happen? Like, why does that happen against UK all the time? Of course, UK really wasn't guarding the three-point line against Michigan State to start out, but they were just nailing them. I'm like, that's what you get because you leave them wide open because our players weren't even staying like one step away from them. Like they went like if a Michigan State player was in the post, like the defender, like the big man, of course, would be guarding their guy, and then the guard would be going to the big man instead of staying with their guy, and then of course the guard would make the three. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy because like you mentioned, we just weren't guarding it initially. So like early on, when they smacked a couple threes, the whole arena was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like you could hear all the UK fans were like, "Oh, why does this always happen to us?" Like this, and even Michigan State fans that were sitting like right in front of us, they were just like, "Oh, it's gonna die out. Like we don't just hit these forever." But then, I mean, he's saying that with the context of surely we'll step up at some point.
Yeah.
We just never really did. But then even when we did, they're already filling themselves a little bit. I mean, like they're just making tough shots. And the two guys that I was worried about end up combining for six made threes with Trey Fort and Kurt Tang. That's the two guys that they want to be the 3-point shooters. But it wasn't only them. It was what was the big dude's name? Yeah,
Collier.
Jesse McCulloch or whatever. He
Hmm.
hit two threes. Like that one, he is still a Division 1 Tower 5 basketball player. I know he's a big off the bench that doesn't really play a whole lot and doesn't have a whole lot of. You still have to close out on him. Like he
Yeah.
was absolutely wide open, and it was just all over the place. Like it was, the defense was horrendous. You mentioned guys would jab when they don't need to, and I would imagine maybe the pregame, the game plan and everything was probably like jab and make them play inside out, make them take
Yeah.
threes and stuff. But like if you're selling all the way out on the inside,
Yeah.
there's no rotation. Like there's not enough humans. You'd have to have seven guys on defense to be able to cover that. Like
Yeah.
it just can't happen. And that was all night. That's how it started. That's
Yeah.
how the game finished. They were hitting them late when they needed them. It was just an all systems failure night.
Yeah, it was definitely an all system failure night. And like I said, UK made a little change in the second half and was able to get the game down to, I believe, 10 points in that second half. But overall, like Michigan State, they just had the lead basically the whole game. Like I said, UK kept it close for like the first 10 minutes until Mark Pope had the mass exit I can't get it out tonight. I'm tired.
Substitution.
Yeah, substitutions. There we go. Where he brought in, I believe it was Jasper Johnson, Trent Noah, uh, Cam Williams, Malachi Moreno. I forgot who else he brought it in, but I mean, the starting five, they were doing very well for the first 10 minutes, and then you bring in the bench, and I just feel like Mark Pope can't do that with this year's team.
Yeah, I want to say that lineup ended with like I don't remember what it was like. It was 17-14. I think is when that lineup entered,
Hmm.
and at halftime it was 44-27,
Yeah.
and we were up 17-14. And then we go, so it was a 30-10 run once that
Hmm.
lineup checks in. And obviously they didn't just play out the whole half, like, but it started with that group.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I mean,
It,
there was zero bright spots from that in Michigan State. Like you said, we were in it early and we were never really in it again. There was a
yeah.
little life when it got to 60-50. And it was, I mean, from
Yeah.
that point on, it was the Michigan State show.
Yeah.
So it was a battle early, but then I mean that lineup right there, that part of the first half just ruined it all.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, I think it needs to be an eight-man rotation. No more platoon system, basically, because Mark Pope has been subbing basically five new guys in. You need to sub in at max. I would say three new players in. I would say more like two new players in at a time. Three maybe, but like I said, UK needs to cut this rotation down, and probably my eight would be Denzel, Owe. Chandler, uh, Mo Diabate, Malachi Moreno, and then I would say probably off the bench you would have to go with Cam Williams. I'm trying to think of who else would be. Uh,
Yelovich.
yeah, Andrea Jelovich, and then you would probably need another guard, so probably Jasper Johnson, even though he hasn't been playing the best.
Yeah, I'd probably say about the same eight. Like that feels like the only eight that have really proven anything at this point. And even Jasper hasn't necessarily, but he can at least help run the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just
Hmm.
poor. Like all these guys. I mean, um, the guys that we heard about in the offseason are just far from what this is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
you have the SEC Player of the Year that ends up playing 31 minutes has a minus 18 in this game, and that's
Yeah.
a big part of the reason. But I don't know if it's with how the lineups are going or what it is, but it's bad, and the
Yeah.
rotation's got to get down, like you said, to probably eight,
Mhm.
and that's we agree on that, and I hope that's kind of what we've seen. Obviously, in these games versus Louisville and Maryland, and then what is it, Tennessee Tech? I think we may play after that, but
Yeah.
like in those, you'll probably end up seeing a ton of different guys play. But
Hmm.
once we get to that North Carolina game, I'd love to see like an 8-man, maybe even 7-man rotation.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe playing against these weaker competitions, they'll give, these players who aren't playing the best some added, motivation. Like they're more, more motivated to play well. And, like you were saying, SEC preseason player of the year was, Otego Away, and he was the leading scorer for UK, but he had a negative 18, like you were saying, but he has 12 points for UK, but, it didn't show up. And I feel like for Owe, and then we can talk a little bit about Jason Hart's tweet as well. But I mean, for Owe, I felt like, like yes, he was the leading scorer last year for UK, but he was also behind the stars of Lamont Butler, Kobe Bryant, Jackson Robinson, Andrew Carr, Amari Williams. Like he had the back seat, so he didn't have to do as much. And I feel like he wasn't ready to become the leader like he is supposed to be this year, and of course take the next step as well with being like the leading scorer and being able to, command the team.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like we don't even as of right now, we don't need him to be the star we were expecting him to jump into. We just need him to be like okay, and
Yeah.
he's not that. He's a net negative right now, and it's
Hmm.
it's sad to see. But like you mentioned, last year's team was made for him, where
Yeah.
the spacing was unbelievable for him. It was opening up lanes, opening all this stuff up. But instead, we have a team that's going 7 for 30 and 23% from three. That's not going to open anything up. They can just
No.
sit back and wait and crowd those lanes. Like that's exactly why he's not able to get downhill and get somebody on his hip. Like he's stuck,
Yeah.
and he's working so hard for anything he tries to get. He's
Hmm.
shooting fadeaway mid rangers I mean it's just the shots that he's taking too. Like I know that people have referenced this, and um, the threes have been the thing that people have pointed to, where it's like the NBA is in his head. Like
Yeah.
if you do this, being this version
Hmm.
is and when last year you weren't the version of the NBA that the NBA was craving, and you didn't have a good enough 3-point shooting, like they still would love that version much more than what they're seeing right now. Like
I
you'll
agree.
still find a roster spot being elite at what you did last year than being a master of none and not even a jack of all trades. Like you're doing nothing
Hmm.
right now that would help. So um, it's just crazy. It's wild. And like you said, he leads us in points because we've always talked about he can sleepwalk to 10. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just kind of happens,
Yeah.
whether it's in transition, however it is. But it's far from the OA that we saw last year,
Right.
and it's far from the guy that we need him to be.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But let's talk about what Jason Hart said, though. Like, you never really see Jason Hart on Twitter. Like, he'll quote tweet stuff or retweet stuff from time to time. But he called out Me Man Boy basically because Me Man Boy, I won't say the whole tweet, but basically he was saying that could you see Brandon Garrison transferring in the winter or spring once Jaden Quaintance returns? Because he was basically saying Quaintance, will be the starter, and then probably Marino will be taking all of Garrison minutes. And basically, why Hart responded back to Me Man Boy was because he was saying that Brandon Garrison, if he is, as chaotic as he is in the locker room as he often can be on the court, would be addition by subtraction. And then Jason Hart said, I don't normally respond, but chaotic in locker room is false. You're making things up, which is unfortunate. So basically, I'm glad Hart called out me, man, boy, on that tweet, though.
Yeah, I would say I'm glad, and obviously they'd be working another full-time job if they tried to call out all the guys that have bad tweets and stuff like this.
Mhm.
There's not an addition by subtraction. Like there's not a get this guy out of the program because last year it worked. He's just in a different role this year, and it's completely different play and stuff on the court for him. So I am glad that Coach Hart called out Me Man Boy and Me Man Boy. I mean, he's brought a lot of good stuff to Twitter, but there's been some bad and that he's had. So um, not a great tweet, not a great hypothetical, and I don't really know what the opinions of people in the comments really were.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of people were just getting on to him. Like, not Hart, but me, man, boy.
okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, this dude said pull Potter's red shirt and bench Garrison. That's a crazy take.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just it's not worth tweeting. It's a pointless tweet. BG is on the team and he will be on the team for a long time. Now you could change minutes and change the kind of role that he plays, but
Mhm.
he's not transferring. You're not going to force this
Yeah.
dude out of the program. And like Coach Hart said, chaotic in the locker room is false. So
Yeah.
the guy that sees behind the scenes is
Mhm.
obviously going to know a lot more than somebody that just tweets about it and tweets their assumption of what he is.
Yeah, and then there's only one really other thing I really want to talk about with Mark Pope, and then we'll talk about Jalen Lowe with Pope giving an update on him. But for Mark Pope, I sent out a tweet late last night just saying I think Mark Pope just overthinks way too much. I know he loves, this job at UK, but I just feel like sometimes it means too much to him, and he is coaching scared because I gave out, three different options where like he was overthinking about the Troy game, and then Mikael McLean had to, pull him aside and just say, calm down. We've had all week to prep versus Troy, of course, back in March before the NCAA tournament game. This happened after where, he was talking to the media. And then, in October on Media Fan Day, Appreciation Day, basically, somebody asked him why he likes to have his hair shaved, and he was due to decision fatigue. And he's like, at least it is for me. It's real actually. At least it is for me, and as ridiculous as it is, I just do it so one, I don't have to look in the mirror too much because sometimes looking at the mirror can be depressing for me, and two, because it makes my life super simple. And then, of course, after the Michigan State game, he said, I got to do a better job. My messaging is not resonating with the guys right now. I'm thinking to myself, like, you need to stop overthinking. And then, of course, uh, one other thing I wanted to point out is everybody was talking about Tyler Thompson's tweet from KSR about how Mark Pope, like, looked really sad and not motivated before the Michigan State game as well.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that until I want to say it was maybe Matt Jones that's put that out about him like before the game. That was very crazy and kind of jarring to see. But to your point about him overthinking things, I think that's definitely it's kind of a blessing and a curse for him that he uses his like he thinks so much about everything. So um like we were referring to earlier, he is not really using what his eyes see, I feel like, for Brandon Garrison. Like you can't watch that and be like, oh yeah, he's still gonna play. But he's going into where he's like, well, he's probably overthinking it because he's like, well, if he's efficient, then I have to keep him in because
Yeah.
that's just what's gonna help the offense and everything. He definitely is overthinking a little bit, and I did see that like thread that you had put out. I thought it was really really good and insightful and stuff, and
Mhm.
so I would definitely agree with that. He's definitely like overthinking, and it's just maybe sit back and like this is still and I hate when people do it, but like it is a game. Like
Yeah.
this is still trying to put a basketball through a basketball hoop.
Mhm.
Go back to the X's and O's of what you are elite at, and don't go based off what certain numbers say, and go based off what is going to actually be beneficial instead of
Yeah.
going with things that are contradicting to what your eyes actually see and what your staff is maybe telling you.
Yeah, of course, it wasn't even supposed to be a diss towards him. Like I said, I know he loves his job. I just think he needs to stop overthinking and, just become the head coach that he can be. And I believe he can be successful. He just has to stop overthinking and just, sometimes get rid of some of the analytical numbers that you have. Like throw those away. Not all of them, but some, like the Garrison stat. And of course, some people tweeted at me saying it is only November 20th, so they didn't agree with my tweet. Somebody said he 100% is overthinking the lineup, so Brandon Garrison, for example, and then somebody else said it sounds to me like we have a bunch of people commenting on things they don't really know about. You can have your opinion, but it isn't better than anyone else's. I'm like, I gave you three different examples, so.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought it was good
Yeah,
overall. I mean, I
yeah,
think he's definitely, and that's what I've never really looked at it from the perspective of that. I always just thought it was kind of funny about him talking about his hair and why he keeps his head shaved and stuff. I was always like, oh yeah, it's funny. Um, but it is like behind the curtains, like that as actually is um something that you could definitely see him being like overthinking about. So uh it's just crazy. Like I don't understand why there would be people saying that like kind of keep your own opinion or whatever to yourself. Like I thought it was really insightful though. It's good
yeah.
and it's definitely something that um really comes to light in that post game presser and stuff with different. I mean the actual post game and then the one with Jeff Goodman as well.
Yeah, so like I said, if y'all haven't checked out that tweet, I would recommend it. Of course, Mark Pope did say that if I'm doing a terrible job, I want all the media members to attack me to say do better and everything. And that's what we're doing currently right now. Like all the media members are attacking him, even including Matt Jones and the KSR crew. Like everybody's, not, I wouldn't say attacking him, but trying to hold him accountable.
Yeah, I would say definitely the media is doing a good job at like holding him accountable, but the people that aren't in media are the ones that are actually the problem. Like the people that are just tweeting stuff, like my head, like I saw somebody put out like a my top 10 or my top five coaching list of who I would rather have, and
Yeah.
it's like that's irrelevant right now, bro. Like we're in
Yeah.
year two, stop worrying about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just the people that are online, it's
Mhm.
just Twitter's an awesome place. It's also a very, very just jacked up mess place. So messed
Yeah.
up place. So I think media is definitely doing a good job of like holding him accountable and
Yeah.
expecting more.
Yeah, I can be the same. Not really with basketball, but more with football, with how earlier it has gone with Mark Stoops. But let's talk about Jalen Lowe real quick. Mark Pope gave an update about Jalen Lowe, basically saying he is day to day with his shoulder injury. He's going through physical therapy to see if he can play this year. If not, then he'll probably medically redshirt, and then he'll still have 2 years left to compete with college basketball. Hopefully at UK those 2 years, but like I really hope Jalen Lowe can come back this year because we really need him since we really don't have a backup guard. I mean, our backup guard is Denzel Aberdeen, and then of course after that you have Colin Chandler and Jasper Johnson.
Yeah, the crazy thing is like I don't know if you had listened I had listened to KSR. I don't remember if it was yesterday's or today's or whatever it was, but Ryan Lemon said that heck he doesn't think that he'll play here. And so I was like, I mean that's a media member that I don't think he's definitely walking on eggshells right now because of his Lamar Wilkerson thing last year, just like not coming to fruition. So
Who
I think
was
he's
that again?
definitely Ryan Lemon said it.
Ryan Lemon. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that he doesn't think Jalen Lowe is going to play this year, and it's kind of just like his scoop. Now, obviously, you can't take everything that like a media member says on it. Just be like, oh yeah, that's definitely it. It would have to come exactly from the source, but I do hope he can get back because, like you
Yeah.
said, like we need him. We
Yeah.
need him big time because of just the guard play.
Mhm.
It's hard to kind of run the show. It's hard to get out in the break, and obviously, you can run post offense without him, but it would be a whole lot easier if you can have a guard that can get downhill and get paint touches and all that stuff. It just opens things up a whole lot more.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And then, like I said, I think this UK season could be a 180 if Jalen Lowe can play for the majority of the year. And then, of course, you get Jaden Quakins back soon within like the next month. I feel like this season could be completely a 180, and you could still easily finish the season with 25 wins in the regular season or something like that. Of course, I predicted 24 and 7 to finish up the regular season, but. It just depends on if those two players can get healthy and when they can play.
Yeah, those two are definitely the big,
Mhm.
and we knew that going into it. Like even like right after Jalen got hurt at the blue white game, it was kind of like, all right, just cruise until we can get JQ back, keep
Mhm.
winning games and all this. And I had a starting 11 to 0 even without Jalen or without Jaden Quains. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
But
definitely
you
not.
mentioned the 180. That can definitely happen. Like
Yeah.
the impact that Jaden Quain's could have, and then just the entire vibe switch. And once you cut that lineup down and you get more familiarity with the guys that are
Mhm.
playing together and stuff, it's only going to help. So,
Yeah.
I definitely think there's a whole lot of basketball left. There's
Yeah.
still what 26 regular season games to be played. Like there's a whole
Yeah.
lot of time to switch these things around and we can get rolling again.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But do you have anything else you want to add? We'll just, we'll throw out our score prediction for this Kentucky versus Loyola Maryland game, and everybody's going to agree that UK's going to win this game for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything more with basketball. I don't think. I will say I like the. This is just from the Michigan State game, like specifically, but I do like you could see a big difference in Muhammad Diabate in the first half and the second half, where he took four threes in the first half, and obviously those were not very good. And then the second half, well, I don't know if it was actually Coach Pope or if it was an assistant coach, and they told him do more like attacking and stuff. I thought that was very, very,
Yeah,
very good from what he did. And then if you all also want to hear any other media perspective, I tweeted it out today. Listen to Mike Tulip. That's an Illinois guy. No ties to Kentucky or anything. If you want to hear his perspective, I thought it was a great perspective to have. And what I put out was I think like 2 minutes or something. But if you want to go watch like their full thing, I thought that spoke pretty well and talked about some more. I feel like I know the game pretty well, but I think from their perspective, those are two former players that were on there with Jeff Goodman, and I think if you want to hear some more kind of basketball talk, I would recommend listening to that. So
yeah.
that's kind of what I have for basketball, though.
There's a couple more things I want to say about Michigan State. I completely almost forgot. Jamal Mashburn, he of course was a former Kentucky basketball great. He played 10 plus years in the NBA league, but he's on TNT Sports US with college basketball, and I was watching it from tonight, but he was basically saying they look like kittens more than Wildcats, and he basically called out this year's squad saying you all need to improve because Mark Pope spent 22 million. He basically was saying, "You all spent 22 million. You all should have at least one or two superstar on this year's team." And so far, they haven't had one or two superstars on this year's team. And he also added that Mark Pope is leading this year's team like coaching, and it has to come from a player and not a head coach.
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't see his talk about it. I need to go look that up, but
Yeah,
um,
I'll send
that
it to
is that
you.
is an interesting thing, and but yeah, it's definitely gonna have to be a player. Like, and
Yeah,
I know it. At this point, it may not be Oweh that we were kind of hoping that even if he wasn't like dominating and killing it this year, maybe he could still be a vocal leader and be really good with all that. So it's gonna have to be somebody, and I was hoping that would be Jalen Lowe, but obviously now he's going through all that. So somebody's gonna have
yeah.
to step up big time, and we'll hopefully learn who that is soon.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I really want to add is, of course, Mo Diabate, he got injured in the second half against Michigan State, had a rolled ankle. Mark Pope said that he will be a game time decision for tomorrow's game against Loyola, Maryland. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays or not. I would say just rest him, trying to get him back to 100% before he play, those big games against, like you were saying, UNC, Gonzaga, St. John's, Indiana, all coming up.
Yeah, definitely. No need to risk anything, and yeah, if there's any like hesitancy at all, just sit him. Just
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Don't, and especially now. I mean, we have two starters that are out, like,
Yeah.
and obviously JQ's been out a minute, but yeah, just sit him. Like,
Yeah.
there's no need. We should definitely not need him at all
Mhm.
in this game, and definitely we'll need him down the road in the North Carolina and all those games that are coming up very soon.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe Brandon Garrison finally steps up and has just an insane game against Loyola Maryland. But let's get into score predictions and game MVP. So the spread is 34.5, and that number just makes me a little nervous because of all the injuries UK has. You've got Jalen Lowe out, you got Mo Diabate potentially out. Of course, Jaden Quaintance too. Like, it's an insane amount of injuries UK has so far, but 34.5 is a lot, but I do believe UK will cover the spread. I do believe it'll be high scoring again for UK like the other, matchups that weren't Power 4, but I'll go 95-60 UK. They win in another blowout against Loyola Maryland and they cover.
Boy, yeah, you have that in a sweat. If anybody's betting that spread, because then you say it was 34 and a half.
Yeah, 34 and a half.
Yeah, win by 35.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, this team is bad. Like, you should definitely. I know that spread is big, but this should be a game that we should definitely. They're 2-4, and their wins are against. I don't even know who this is. It's Penn State Abington. That's one of their wins, and then the other is Stonehill.
Stonehill.
They've lost to Towson, NJIT, Fairfield, and Duquesne.
Yeah.
You should roll this team. So I'll go. You had 95-60. I'll go. I'll go.
And I got them over also on the over under with 153 and a half too.
Oh, that is the over. Okay. I'll go. Let's see. I'd love to see us get to the century mark. I'll go 101 to 58.
101 to 58.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's
That's what I
also
got.
get with game MVPs. I'll go with Colin Chandler. Like he's been playing insane all year. Like I feel like he's going to go just score like 15 points, 3 rebounds, and like 2 assists. So that's also my game MVP.
All right. My MVP. It's time to get the man fully rolling and getting the man that we heard about all summer, Trent Noah, MVP. I think he hits five or six threes in this one, and he plays well, has some defensive plays, grabs some boards,
Yeah.
and I think he's the big spark of this night. And if anybody on this team is hurting about this team failing, it's the man that grew up in the 13th region, grew up cheering for the Cats, grew up doing the John Wall. It's that man.
Yeah.
He's the one. Which also shout out Landon. He did the John Wall right after he won. He won the tic tac toe.
That's
But
true.
yeah, he's gonna be the one that like I know this hurts deep down because he never wants to see Kentucky lose a game before he puts on the jersey. Now he's got on the jersey. He wants
Yeah.
nothing but wins for this program,
Yeah.
and that's my MVP.
And then we'll do we're not going to cover football on this podcast, of course. UK football. They lost their recruit today, Jordan Crutchfield, 3-star defensive back. But we'll go with a score prediction for this UK versus Vandy football game on Saturday. The spread has gone down. It was 10.5 Vandy. It's now 8.5 Vandy. And I really think UK pulls off the upset again this week against Vanderbilt. Like last year, of course, they lost against Vandy at Kroger Field. I could not believe UK, got upset from Vanderbilt last year, but I do believe UK can pull this upset off against Vanderbilt, and UK gets to the sixth win. UK goes bowling under Mark Stoops after not going bowling last year and having a 4-8 record, and they get to 6 wins against Vanderbilt. And I'll go with score predictions 54.5 for the over under. So I'm going with I'm going under that over under. I know Vandy can be high scoring, but I think it'll be I'll say 27-23. I'm going again 27-23. I've been going with that score prediction a lot, but 27-23 UK. Cutter Bowley has another career game. And I say he'll go with 250 passing touchdowns along with 2 touchdowns, and then I'll say that for my game MVP and score prediction.
Which also shout out to Cutter Bowie. We didn't mention because we haven't had a podcast since then. He just got his third straight SEC Freshman of the Week.
Hmm.
So I also will go with a win, and this would be a playoff eliminating win for us to beat Vanderbilt. Knocks them out. They're 8-2 right now. They still have an outside shot at getting into that playoff. But going on the road, beating I think they're 14th. But going on the road, beating them and getting our lick back, like you mentioned, lost to him last year. Diego Pavia has obviously been the talk of the town. He's been traveling all over the country, going everywhere. He's the Johnny Manziel of Nashville, and I think we go down there and we beat them. So I'll go with you said 27-23. I'll go 30-20. So what'd you say the over under was? 50.
54.5.
Okay, so mine's under, but
Yes.
30-20, win by 10. Defense makes a stop late and slows their offense down and stuff. So
Yeah.
Big time win on the road, and I'll go Cutter Bully MVP as well.
Yeah, guys, just slow down Diego Pavier, of course, and their whole offense. But I do believe UK can get this win. And, maybe Seth McGowan also has a crazy game against him, but we'll see. But hopefully UK does get the win against Vandy, and then we get our sixth win because, all the nerves will be if UK loses this game against Vandy. Like, can UK get to the sixth win against their arch rival against Louisville at Louisville?
Yeah, that one I don't want to have to worry about. I want to go into that 6-5. I want to just go ahead and
Yeah.
go bowling now. But and also one fun note about this is now it's Shiosh Pete playing his former quarterback
Yeah.
Diego Pavia. So
Yeah.
and his former tight end with Eli Stowers. So
It's crazy.
he's very very familiar. The offensive coordinator for Vandy is Tim Beck maybe. Um,
I think
he
you're
was
right.
also the OC over at New Mexico
Mexico
State too.
State.
So a lot of connections there. But we need Shiosh to be the one that comes out on top.
I agree with you on that. And let's get to six wins. Let's get to bowling. Of course, if that doesn't happen, then it'll be reminiscent of early Stoops' tenure at UK, where UK had 5 wins and all they had to do was defeat Louisville to get to that sixth win back in like 2014 and 2015. Like we kept getting to 5 wins and could not get to that sixth win. So hopefully that isn't the case and we can upset Vandy on Saturday.
It is crazy though because it feels like back then it was more of like get snatch your wins early, and then we'd maybe lose some towards the end, but then you have a chance in the Louisville game. This one it was just like fire everybody, get rid of them. Like we got to move on. Like this is terrible, and then we just rattle off wins after win after
Yeah.
win. So now it's a completely like
Different
flipped scenario,
story.
but
Yeah.
we're at the end of the year and we're having a chance to beat
Mhm.
two teams that I mean I don't consider Vanderbilt a rival, but they're I'd say as close to a rival as you can be.
Yeah.
And then Louisville, who is obviously the biggest. So
Yeah. That's a big
you got
rival.
an opportunity to go bowling.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But let's wrap up the podcast for tonight. We'll get it uploaded in the morning, Friday morning before UK faces off against Loyola, Maryland. But we hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and hopefully UK can get a win in football. Some people are probably against UK getting a win in football on Saturday because they still want Mark Stoops gone. But I'm on the train of keep him if he keeps continuing to win.
Yeah, no doubt. And like
Yeah,
I've always said, if you want Kentucky to lose, you're just not a fan. You're not a
yeah.
real fan. You got to root for us to win.
Yeah, always gotta root for a win for sure. But thank you all for watching on YouTube and of course listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But this is Chris Eastmore and
And Cameron Waddle,
signing out. Have a great week, everybody, and weekend.
go Cats.